And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm touching base with you as I always do every day. So yesterday you guys got to join me on a little outing and I said, I miss my studio. I'm not going to do that again. I want to be in here on that during our time slot. But I think it was very informative. I think you guys got something out of it. And but it's so good to be here. Another, as you can see behind me, another dreary day in New York City. This seems to be our norm. Fog. This is our norm. However, as in the weather world, everything must be extreme. And so, starting next week, well, starting tomorrow, we will be in what's called a heat wave. And the heat wave starts tomorrow in New York. And then we get a burst of 90s tomorrow. Then it goes back into the 80s on Friday. But then Saturday, 90, Sunday, 90 plus, Monday, 90 plus, 98s, 99s. It's going to be freaking Texas in New York City. Shoot. And you know, I do not function well when the temperature is above 82. I just do not function well. Got to live in the AC. And but let me see who's in the building. And also, if you're in the building, make sure you click those wonderful likes. The likes, and say hello if you're in the building. Say hello. And I see in here, and also the QR code is up to date. Everything is working. There should be no excuse today. And okay, there we go. First person in the building is the wonderful and great Hannah. Hannah's in the building. She says, "Good morning, Ron and Touch Base Daily family." And Mr. Bryan Young Creative is in the building with the good morning fam. He gets the silver. And in the bronze. Oh, what's going on with my keys here? What's happening here? Oh, there we go. Lisa says, "Good morning." Okay, there we go. And we got the great Chris Edwards is in the building as well. Good morning, Touch Base Daily family. He'll be on with me on Friday because tomorrow is Juneteenth and I will be in the streets. So another from the streets. We may come on. I'm still debating. So I'm still trying to figure out what the schedule is for tomorrow. But Chris and I will let you know. Okay, and also Jazzy is in the building. Good morning, beautiful people, she says. Chris says, "It is overcast here in Delaware. This is our normal mornings in New York City for the last 3 months. For the last 3 months, it's been foggy here. And we're not used to this. This is definitely climate change. Something is different." And I see here, Mimi's in the building. Good morning, Mimi. How you doing, Mimi? Miss Mimi Hinton. She says, "Good morning, Ron and RLP fam crew." So yesterday, yeah, Mimi says foggy. Yeah, so we had I was out in the streets. You saw me open the day with Mr. Butch Quick, amazing photographer, and I had no idea that when I arrived to the B&H Build Expo 2025, that there would be a line 1, 2, 3 blocks long, 3.5 blocks long. The line was 3.5 blocks. Luckily, it moved fast, but I was not expecting that. And you guys know the rest is history. You saw me in action, putting my mics together, putting my stand together, getting it all ready. But I learned some good stuff. I've always wanted to learn about gradients, how to do it, what you should start with, your baseline. And I forgot his name, Kim Lee, I think it was his name. Oh, no, don't get me quoted on him. He was one of the photographers, an amazing photographer. I did put him in my Instagrams. Hold on, because I wanted to share his page as well. So let me just go on to we got, the good thing is we got Google on our hand. And okay, computer. Okay. And not sure why this is frozen on YouTube on my phone, but there we go. Okay, so I just wanted to bring it because he is so smart. I mean, when I first met this gentleman was at Photoville, I do believe last year. I was just, I was online with you guys, and then I got off, and then I'm walking around, and he walks up to me and says, "May I take your photo?" And he was with his assistant, and she was like, "You know who he is?" I was like, "No." I was like, "No, I don't know who he is." And anyway, turned out that he's a really incredible photographer here in New York City. And let me see. Let me just put in here. It should come up on my Instagram because I did go to the page and clockwork on the Instagram is not working like it's supposed to. And yep, it's not going to show up. It is not showing up on, you used to be able to just look on your Instagram. And if you follow someone, then you go to your followings, it would come up in the order. Not so. Not so today. And maybe I put it under the other page. Let's see. Because I want you to have his information. Nope. It doesn't show up either way. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll have that for you tomorrow or later on. Anyway, he is an amazing photographer. And he was one of the guest speakers at the Adobe, we're going to call it Adobe workshop area. And so every 20 minutes, actually every 30 minutes, there was someone speaking. Every 20, they spoke for 20 minutes. So it was a lot of information. Once I left you guys, I hung out at the Adobe, and I hung out with Levon. I'll say Levon. Levon was there, and we had a great time. Then we had lunch together, and so she was doing her thing. She was working her area because she works at Adobe, and so she's part of their team. And she is. I told her, I said, you know what? On some of our Tip Tuesdays, I'm hoping maybe once a month or something like that, but we'll get it started with maybe one time, is that she will come on a Tuesday, on our Tip Tuesdays, and give some tips on Lightroom and Photoshop. So I'm thinking that that would be a great asset to the community. And she's always supporting this community. Always. Every day, you'll find her in the YouTube channel, writing, commenting. She always supports. And commenting is so important. You guys don't realize how important it is for YouTubers and content creators when you, one, hit the like. That's the low level. Hit the like to all of your content creators. You should never go to a content creator page and not hit the like. Number two, next level up is share. If you like it and then share it, you just pay. I mean, sometimes paying for what you view is not in dollars. Sometimes it's in how you push your creators out into the world. So, number two, the second level of appreciation of your content creators is share. Share their content. So, hit the like, share, and then the third way you can help your content creators without even giving a dime, without giving a penny, nothing out of your wallet. Nothing out of your wallet. Like, share, and comment. Comment. If you learn something, put it in the comments. Say thank you. Say appreciation to all your content creators. Take some time out and say, hey, Thank you. Thank you for sharing this today. I learned such and such. This benefited me, such and such. This was wonderful, right? If you appreciate your content creators. So, 3 levels of content creative awareness: like, then share, then comment. If you did that with all your content creators, you will help them become get more what they call populated on the SEOs and all the other stuff that's out there, so that people and the algorithms, so they can people know that they exist. That's without giving a dime, without giving a penny. I see Lisa says, Ron, you have to click sort by default to change the order of how you need your followers. You will then be able to see them in the order you follow them. I used to have it that way. I did set it up that way, but for some reason, as everything else in Instagram, they always tiggle and toggle. I'll have to check into why it's not showing up. But yeah, Lisa says, unfortunately, a lot of people are looky loose and not true supporters. True. You know, what we're finding now, especially in Instagram world, is that, for instance, one of my friends, she has 360,000 followers on Instagram. Can I say that again? 360,000 followers. That's more than 250,000 people following her, right? On Instagram. But how many support? 100, maybe 200 at most. Think about that. 365,000 followers on Instagram. And her support system, the supporters, the ones that reach out, that like, that subscribe, that go to her events. And she's a DJ, so she does DJing, and she sends out invitations for people to go to her events when she's in their town. What we find now on Instagram, and a lot of us are here on Instagram because we just simply use it as it kind of like pushes you into our YouTube channel. So kind of like a little bit of a promotion, a little bit of a pump up, if you want to call it. And but when you do so, most people in Instagram don't give a hoot. They just keep moving on. And I think what's also happened with the population, this is my opinion. We're going to have our other guests on soon in a little bit because they're waiting in the doorway, and I'm going to go grab them. And but what is happening obviously is what do we call it? Online fatigue. Online fatigue. There's so much information coming at us at any given time that some of us just say, "Oh, enough." But when you are in a community of people if someone, for instance, I am a Don Lemon supporter. I am my friend. Whatever she does, I try to support. Gwendolyn, Alieze, anyone in this community, I try to promote your stuff. If you are posting, I will post. I will repost. And if you post, some of y'all guys don't have your ability to repost. I don't know what that's about, but you need to make it so people can repost your stuff, so more people can see you and be in other people's audiences. So anyway, I say that is that because you have lots of one of my buddies, he has 500,000 followers plus on Instagram. And he was like, hello, is anybody alive out there? A couple of weeks ago, 500,000 plus followers. And now we also know that the algorithms on Instagram are horrible. People have 1 million followers, and then you go to their page and it's only 32 likes. Or you see only 50 likes out of 1 million followers. So it's also part of the algorithms. But if you support your content creators, even at the base of the algorithms, it will bring people to that person's page, and it will make people aware that they exist. So that's my little soapbox moment. I hope that it was an educational moment so that everyone would learn or be educated on being and supporting and encouraging your content creators. So with no further ado, I do hear a doorbell. And they're both hanging out. The soul sisters, soul sisters. Anyway, my soul sisters. I'm gonna have to call them that. I like that. Soul sisters. Here they go. Soul sister, soul sister. What's going on, ladies?
Oh, good morning.
Look at y'all. Look at y'all. I just love y'all. Gwendolyn, good morning. I love you. Your face is saying so much, but you're not speaking.
Well, if you know how to use your tool, then sometimes
your
you don't have to use verbal words. You know what I mean?
Face tool.
Let me just say good morning. I have some thoughts about what you just shared, but I'll wait to share them all.
Do you have a soapbox that you want to climb on today as well?
Yeah, you know what? Okay, so let me go ahead. And then I'm gonna turn it over to Miss Alieze. Miss Alieze. I do believe people have a fatigue with social media in general, right? Because it's no longer social. I have nothing against selling, but everybody seems to be selling something, which is not a bad thing. Let me make sure I'm clear about that. But there's just so much of it, and some of it's not like high quality content. I believe that's part of the problem. It's not high quality content. But when you talk about like the number of followers people have, and I recently did my presentation, and I will use my filter and just say F followers to create connections. Yes. Oh yeah. I was really authentic in my presentation.
As you always are.
Oh, always. But yeah, at the end of the day, this whole idea of having followers and connections and whatnot is like, is it really a connection though? Like, are we really connected? And so people really, in my opinion, want human connection and engagement, which is why just being on social media is not fulfilling for a number of us. And it's gotten boring and tiring and just mentally and emotionally draining. It's like, I don't have time for this. I want to talk to somebody and I want to engage with other people and get into some really good humans, right? So I believe you're seeing that. But the other part is perhaps some of us have realized that we got to stop working for these companies like Meta and Microsoft, who owns LinkedIn and what have you, and start getting people out of that community into our community. Like, you need to turn the table on that. So working extra hard to get followers is like, don't nobody need them followers if they're not doing anything. Because it's about engagement. You can have 1 million followers, but let's just say someone said, I want to do a sponsorship or do something, and they want to know about your engagement numbers, and it's garbage. Well, then, you know what? I'm on to the next person. All right, I'm getting off the soapbox. I'm gonna let Miss Alieze.
Good morning, Alieze.
Good morning. Good morning. I know that a lot of people are suffering from social media fatigue for a variety of reasons. As I know with me, I get overwhelmed with all of this stuff that's going on. And then I was like, I don't want to hear that. So I just kind of don't listen. And then and you all always know I've always been about connections. Like, how do we connect? How do we create community? And how do we use these platforms so that we can make the communities that Gwendolyn's talking about? You know, like the one where she has the workspace that I've been in at least twice. But how do you make those communities, and how do we continue to support each other in ways that aren't always on a platform? You know, that's what we have to think about. And I was laughing and talking to someone last night about, you know, people, how much stuff I bought from people, especially prior to this year.
Yes.
I think everyone put out, because, you know, it was like supporting people through the pandemic and all of those things, and people getting things off the ground. And of course, you know, I have my two hats, and then like people would say, "Are you gonna have t-shirts?" Like, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. But it was with a purpose and an intent, right?
Yes.
It was actually not just to sell something, but also because I'm working on things that aren't necessarily in that format or on those platforms, right? It's on the platform because I present on there, but also it's connected to everything. And so when you can only have so many t-shirts for the same thing in different colors, right?
Yes.
I'm only gonna buy it one time in one color and I'm done, right? So, but I think we have to, let's figure out how do we create the communities? How do we have the connections so that we are connected offline?
Yes.
Have those things offline, and that we are building offline, because there's so much we can be doing now. And it's one of some thoughts that have been on my mind about what we can do and how we support each other, right? How do we support and find out? So if there's a Gwendolyn in my town, or Ron here, or if I can get to Ron and Gwendolyn because I need to have something done, some photographs done for something, then I need to make sure I'm patronizing those people in that way financially. You know what I'm saying? We're supporting those businesses. What are the real businesses that are out there that need our support? Because that's your resource. That's your income stream.
Yes.
Now, all of us, that's not our income stream, whatever product we have, but you all, that's your income stream. How do we gather that information? How do we, you know, you have a lot of people composing the green books. What does that look like for our community, for services and goods that we need? I need a dress made. Who knows that dressmaker?
Yes.
Because that's what we did. And I was telling a friend last night, I said, you know, maybe our Greenwood and our Greenwoods and Rosewood, all those places, is not a physical place, but a virtual place where we're connecting with each other on the services that we provide and the businesses, and we're keeping each other afloat through that. So we know where the Black farmers are, or whoever the farmers are we want to support, who those creatives are for things that we need. How do we create that? Because it was about them having all of those things, the dressmakers, the doctors, the banks, all of the things, the bookstores, all of the things that they had. Well, how do we actually do that community virtually? How do we do it so that we have each other's numbers, and I know, hey, I need this, I want a dress made, and I know where to go to get that dress made. I know someone where that connection is, and we start connecting in that way, in a meaningful way, so that we have all of those things together. And so then we start operating outside of the platforms, because now we have a community that we can go to, because there's a platform that houses that community.
Yes.
And we make all those connections.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, I look at our community. We have a community. This community is really pretty much about 35 people strong, give and take. People are here, people are not. People are doing this. People are, you know, the consistent line through all the YouTube channels. People are responding, connecting, writing, liking, commenting. Even though on the YouTube channel, we just crossed 700 subscribers yesterday. And but there's about 35 people in our YouTube channel that are always engaging. Like, there's always some kind of engagement. And we talk about community, is that we have a beautiful community here. I got long, let me get the words right. no longer do I worry about the numbers of how many followers. Like, you know, when I first started Instagram, I was like, oh my God, how can I get more followers? How can I, you know, I've been at the same mark for like a year almost in Instagram, maybe 2 years. And it's because of the change of algorithm and all the stuff. It doesn't matter what you post. It doesn't matter how many times you post. Because I know other friends with their stuff. But I look at also YouTube though. The YouTubers are a little more interesting. YouTubers are really committed to who they're following. For the most part, YouTubers are really like, it takes time. It takes time for you to, no one's really like this. I mean, not to say no one, but there is very few people that, you know, you sit there and look at your subscribers and they're clicking just to be clicking and just then move on. Most of the time, they're going to listen to you at least more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Attention span is what the attention span for the most Americans is what, 33 seconds, something like that. So if someone hangs in with you for 5 minutes, you may be doing something right. And if they stay for the whole show or the whole whatever is going on, then that's also a plus. But I say what Alieze is saying about community is that just because you're in this community doesn't mean you're going to get business from this community. What needs to happen, if I may suggest, is that you like we were talking here, is that you build relationships with the people that are in this community. Like when Alieze comes to New York, Ron, I change my calendar around and say, "Oh, Alieze is in New York. We got to at least get to lunch, and we're gonna at least do lunch. Or we're gonna get to dinner. Or we're gonna do something. At least spend an hour to get to catch up because we talk. We all talk here, and I talk to Alieze on the phone. However, and I talk to Gwendolyn almost literally every day. But if Gwendolyn happens to stroll into New York, calendar gets changed. Oh, yep, calendar gets changed. And because you want to build relations. Even like when Bryson was in town, I was like, oh, if Bryson in town, let's go. Let's get together. I will make sure that I spend time with the people that are in this community. Like Levon, she's here. She is commenting if you ever look at our YouTube page and you look at all the people that are writing on the comments, there she is. Bam, 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 bam. Every day she says, oh, I gotta catch up. She's like yesterday. She says, Ron, missed the show yesterday. I gotta catch up. And as soon as she finishes, and I'm like, we just met this year. But yesterday we laughed. We had so much fun. I was there to support her at the Adobe tent and just be with her. And then another photographer and we went to lunch. And this is coming from me as an ambassador to what I do here in New York City. I am an ambassador to one of the chambers here in New York City, Chamber of Commerce. And one of my skill sets in sharing with people that join the chamber is that don't just show up and think you're going to get business. It doesn't work that way. People do business with people they know, or they build some kind of relationship with, or through a friendship or a relationship that has rapport that has recommended you. But most folks are not doing business unless it's an emergency with a stranger. Right? Most people are not doing business. I mean, I'm talking about like these referral jobs, like being a photographer, being even jobs, regular jobs, actors. You'll find that most people get jobs because they got referred by someone. Right? It's not because, you just out of nowhere popped up on the doorstep. They're gonna say, and you may have you may have everything they need, but they don't know who you are. So my suggestion as you are in these communities, don't just be in the community as a number. Be in the community as a functioning operative body within those communities. You know, I'm on the I'm part of the Elimination, right? Don Lemon's show. Those folks know who I am. Why? Because I'm in the chats. I'm sending comments, and anyone that I follow, I try to get in there. When Alieze is on, I try to pop up, put everything on the calendar, and I'm in it. And just being, even if I'm busy, I will turn. Gwendolyn sometimes comes on during my Don Lemon hours. So I got Don Lemon going on and Gwendolyn on Fridays. Only on Fridays, dear. Only on Fridays. But what I say about that is because I'm going to support my Gwendolyn regardless. I love my Don Lemon show, but my first allegiance is my partner in crime and also other things. We eat, we talk, we jive, but I'm going to support her, even if it's just that I have it all. Or if I'm in a business, like for instance, one day I was at a meeting, had a networking around town, and I just turned Gwendolyn on. I'm in the cab. I'm like in the cab, texting and kind of putting it in the comment boxes just to support. Sometimes I'll have her. I'm saying Gwendolyn, you're on my screen a lot, and I'll be
Sounds so
functioning.
bad.
Let's say I'm on if I'm in a photo shoot and my phone is nearby and I can't usually have my phone on, but I have it on silence, and I know she's on, I'll just turn the phone on her show because it counts. I'm just saying. I know I'm that nerd. I'm that weird, but I believe in supporting my friends. Cause I know Gwendolyn will get on a plane, pay her ticket to support me because she has done it. Anyway, that was long-winded. I know.
I was like, the way you talk about, I'm like, I don't know if this is family friendly. I turned Gwendolyn on, and I was like, we're sorry.
You're the best. I love your show. I love all your shows. I love your comments. I love it. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Here's the deal, though. And so yes, Chamber of Commerce is not about getting business per se, and people kind of forget that, but that's the same thing with networking. People go to a networking event and they immediately think, I'm going to meet somebody here who is going to give me something. The fact of the matter is, networking is about you serving other people. That's how that works. What you put out into the world is what you get back. And I say you should do it with a genuine heart, not that you're trying to get something, because that never works out well. But you are correct. I'm a natural nurturer. So, and I believe in social networking. So if I am in your city or close to it, I'm gonna drive to you. Like I said, I was in Nebraska just last week, right? Happened to be in Lincoln, which is not too far from Omaha. There is a virtual friend who was in the area. And I was like, look, if you got some time, I want to come put your face in my face. And so she was like, yeah, I'm going to move things around. Best day ever. Absolutely wonderful. But, it's a want for you. Like if you want to really make these connections and be an active member in whatever community you're a part of, then you will do what needs to be done. You don't have to, be dragged into it, or people have to like coerce you to do it. You do it because you want to do it. I like meeting people, sitting down, chatting, cheerleader of all people. Raw. That is Gwendolyn. So if you're close, I'm going to show up for you. Could be a 4-hour drive, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you did that with Dr. Tachi, right? You were on your way somewhere.
I sure did.
And
yes,
you detoured and said, hey, can we go visit Dr. Tachi? You drove all the way down to Florida just to meet her and then go back to Georgia.
We were in the area. She's like, that's like a 5-hour drive. I was like, this, it's 4 hours to Houston. That ain't nothing. That ain't 5 hours. Who cares? But yeah, I was like, I'm in her area. So I thought, okay, I'm going to see Dr. Tachi. But like, if I'm somewhere there, then I'm going to make it happen. Like if it can happen, then let's do it, because I don't know if I'm going to be around this area again. So that is who I am. If I come to a certain spot, I'm like, who's here, who's there, who can we link up with really quick? So yes, I will make the 4 or 5 hour drive. it doesn't bother me at all. It's for, but I am hoping now that Miss Alieze, you appear to be a tall person. So far, I have met nothing against it, but these really, I was like, damn, she's tiny. I was like, God, how tall are you? You know, like the video is so different. You're like, wow, I just figured you were a little bit taller, but no.
Are we talking about Nebraska? Your friend in Nebraska?
Yes, RJ. Yeah, she's tiny. I think she's
she was like, I could fit you in my pocket.
I was surprised. I mean, even Dr. Tachi, I was like, Dr. Tachi's not tall. You know how you see people? You're like, wow, she's a little short. I had to. So I'm going to be in Atlanta pretty soon. There are people on my list. So I'm like, if I can make it work, I'm going to make it work. Like I'm going to slide some things around to make it work. So, but that's who I am at my core. So I always show up in that. Now, Miss Alieze, I'm gonna get up to your neck of the woods. I'm not flying anytime soon. I don't trust these skies; they're not so friendly. But, I'm good for a road trip.
Look, girl, I was like, okay, so I have to add, like, I need to do a quick tour of Texas.
Yeah, there's a lot of art in Texas too.
Because I have family in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Oh.
Then I have people in Houston, and my daughter's in Austin. So I said, I just have to go do a Texas trip. Let's go around there, go see everyone in Texas, because it's not gonna look. I'm not gonna do Texas probably more than once. But
I heard a bell. I heard a bell. There's someone at the doorstep. It's Jazzy Jazz.
Yeah. And I know, like, when you talk about going to see people, when I first met Bryan Young, the creative, was when he did his TEDx talk in Baltimore. I drove up there, and another person goes by the name of Tony, Beautiful Reflections too. We drove there to watch his TED talk, his TEDx talk, and that was the first time I met him. Like, so just to be supportive. I mean, it was in the area, quick for me to go up to Baltimore and then get back. It was nothing. And so it was great to support someone. And, and that's what I do. Like in the community around here, like the one artist introduced me to people a couple of weeks ago, and she said, like, she is a supporter collector extraordinaire because she's everywhere. She said, I'll go to something in New York, and she's in New York at somebody's opening. But that's how you support each other. That's how.
Yeah, I mean, who goes to Iowa?
I did. I went to Des Moines, Iowa.
Who goes to Iowa to support an artist? Alieze, you be freaking me out. I was like, how is she? She's going to. People go to LA, people go to destination places to, like you went to Iowa to check out someone,
absolutely,
an artist, and support their work and support their show. I was like, and again, this is what it takes to build relationships.
Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you keep the connections. I have great connections with people, with artists, all over, at this point, all over the country. They're in LA, they're in Des Moines, there are people here, tons and tons of people here. There are artists all over the place that I mean, your
photo, your art pieces on loan here in New York City.
On loan, yes, in New York. But and that's all about connections, right? That's all about the type of connections we create with each other and how we support each other. Yes. The artist reached out and said they'd love to have this piece. Would you be willing to loan it? Of course. It's not costing me anything. They picked it up. They insured it. They're going to deliver it back to my house. But in support of that artist and in support of that museum, which is a nice space, of course I would do it because it doesn't cost me anything, and it's beneficial for them to have the piece because of where we are now. And for the artists that I support, I tell people all the time, I haven't acquired things from all the artists, but some of the artists that I talk to and introduce the community to have been supported by people. People like Lisa and some other people I know have bought things from some of the artists that they've been introduced to on my page. And that's really what it's all about, right? And I travel to see people perform all types of things. I mean,
I sport my Hello Healing mug. I don't have my own merch, but I got my Hello Healing. Yeah. Every time I'm drinking a sip, if I'm not using my moonshine glass.
My moonshine glass. Again, Jazzy has on the hat. So I
Yes,
appreciate
it's
that.
about supporting one another.
Oh,
That's what it's
absolutely.
about.
And Jazzy and I have regular lunch dates. Like it's like, okay,
Mhm.
where we meeting this month? So we try to get together every month if we can to go out to lunch together, just to keep the communication and the community together and the relationship. We have a great relationship.
Welcome,
Yes,
Jazzy.
indeed. Hi, I forgot I ordered lunch, and that's what I was like, oh yeah. They were knocking on my door. I was like, what is that? Normally I try to do something, but I was like, oh, completely forgot about that.
It's a
Hi
yes.
everybody, how y'all
What do you think about
doing?
all this, Jazzy? What do you think about all this? You're on the, I know you're saying that you
It's
also are trying
interesting.
not to do social media so much. What's on your mind?
Yeah, yeah. I think, the fatigue thing is real for me. And I think one of the things, the beauty about COVID, right, was that we got to experience online in a way that was it felt renewed. I think online and social media is a great tool when used correctly, but I think there's a lot of negativity in this space, but there's a lot of positivity in it too. And I think the beauty
Mm-hmm.
of what was there during COVID was there was a lot more positive than there was negative, right? And now I don't know if it's because I follow a lot of like news pages. I like politics. I love, politics, music, film. If those three things are like encompassed and embody me, right? And I just think sometimes you can just get overwhelmed with the constant like negativity. Sometimes like every time I open up my Instagram now, it's like breaking news and I'm like, yeah, no. I gotta, and sometimes I'm just like, it's a lot, and I think sometimes you just have to like get away from that. But I do think there is something to be said about having relationships and real relationships with people in spaces that aren't necessarily always seen. And like
Mm-hmm.
what Alieze was saying, like we get together often, we'll call each other on the phone and just have conversation. The go brunches, like those are amazing to me because it's just getting to know a different side of you all that I didn't know, right? That you can't find in these spaces and that you're not always able to communicate, not because you don't want to, but more so because
Mm-hmm.
you have topics that you have to stay on or you have, you know what I mean? So I think
Yes.
it's about wanting that relationship, building that relationship, and actually fostering that relationship. And I think sometimes with online, there's a surface to it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, that you can't penetrate when you're trying to always just follow somebody and listen to what they're saying. Like I support you all because of the fact that of course, because I like what you're saying, but I also am like, okay, but there's something more there. There's something deeper there that I can hear and I can follow and I can listen to. And I think it's rare, to be honest, nowadays to see that because it's not coming from an authentic place, I think, a lot of times. And I think people know that they can feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say what I mean when I say that, it's kind of like, we're in the age of the influencer and everybody wants followers and they're doing it because they want the followers, not because they're actually passionate about what they're talking about. And, Cass, like when we were talking last week, one of the things she said something last week and I was like, yes, it's about you wanting to do it because of the fact that you really are passionate about what you're talking about, not because of the fact that you're trying to gain followers. And I think there's something to be said in that. Like if you're
Mm-hmm.
going into a space just because I want to find followers, and let's not be naive. Like, of course, you're not having a YouTube channel and not wanting anybody to follow you. Like we understand that. But I
Right.
think it's like if you come to it in a space where you're like, I actually want to make a difference because I want people to hear or learn about politics or photography or whatever your niche is, right? Like I want to have the conversation. I want to spark the conversation, not because I just want a million people to follow me, but more because of the fact that I want to make sure that I'm getting this out into the world. I think that place is more genuine. You know what I mean? And I think the more people come to these platforms in that space and in that mindset instead of just coming to it because you want to look cool. Like y'all see me, I come on here looking crazy on the daily. Like I thought about it last week. I was like, I really should try like not to look so crazy when I come on this platform. But
You look
And I was like, oh,
You
God.
look fine.
Okay. But at the same time, it's like, I really do like engaging with your conversation and what you're saying, right? I wouldn't do this if I really didn't like what you all are saying.
Right.
And I think that's something that you gain followers, you gain people that come to your channel because of that. That support stays there because they want to know what you have to say, whether they want to just argue with you and disagree with you, or whether they really agree with you and say like, hey, like, have you looked at this perspective, or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? So I just think it's important to network with people. It's important to network with people with intention, because I think people want to network with to get something out of them. I'm not like that. Like I don't ever want I know networking, you're supposed to want to like make a transaction with each other, but I'm not a transactional person personally. Like I could care less of what you can give to me. I'm more interested as a person, and maybe sometimes this is my flaw, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want people around my orbit to succeed. Like I genuinely want people to succeed, live their life in abundance, and I really want to know how I can help you in that. It's not about me. It's about really wanting to say like, hey, I can give you a thumbs up. I can give you $10 when I have it. I can, you know what I'm saying? Like those are things for
Yes.
me where like, when I think of that, supporting each other, I think is important to show up, like show up in that space. That's why I get mad. Like there was a time I was getting Gwendolyn's all of her notifications when her videos would go off. And I don't know why, but they won't do it now. So now I'm just like searching her channel, like, okay, when does she come on, just so I can be there. You know what I mean? Like those are the things that I feel like showing up, even in the moments where you're like, it takes nothing to turn on a video, listen to it. It takes nothing to push a like on the video, like nothing. And I think sometimes people just want to, I don't want to do that because and it's like, just press the daggone like just do it. Here.
Press the button. Press the button.
Let's click the like. Let's click the like.
You know what I mean? So
It's that scene from Rush Hour. Just press the button. Press the button. Just press the button.
Push the button.
Press the effing button.
Just say, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? Like just show up and just be there how you can, and really support people in the ways that you can. And I think that's bigger than trying to pretend like you are, right?
Yeah.
Like there are times where I can't come into this space, or I like yesterday, I wasn't able to even listen, or I went back to the video and liked it. Like that doesn't take anything, you know what I'm saying? So I just think sometimes the way we show up in the world, just stop trying to make it about you and think about like, hey, how can I help this person? Because when you're doing it for self-serving reasons, it's just it doesn't
when we
work.
show up on when we show up in these communities, it's also we're sharing, because what I've learned in this social media world is that we all have something to give to it, or to the communities that we're in. We are there because we have something to give. And now there are some people that want to be in a community to take, but I think I know a lot in this community. Everyone's here to. I mean, we've already seen the ones that were the takers, and they come and they go, right? The takers come and go, but the ones that are the givers, they're just coming in. They're sharing their thoughts. They're sharing their wisdom. They're sharing their perspective. I mean, think about it. Alieze was not one to get on the camera, and now here she is. What? And she is doing it, and she's part of this community. She shares her thoughts, and she has years of wisdom in so many areas of life. And that's the beauty of building community, is that some folks are like, oh, I'm shy and I don't have this, and I don't talk well, I don't look this way, I don't. And once you get over the hump of I'm here to give to people, then it changes the perspective. Like I remember when I was terrified. Gwendolyn will tell you, being on a screen was the last thing on my mind. And being on YouTube, she and Chris had to do a couple of twistings and say, Ron, okay, you can do this. Come on, make this happen. You can do it. But that's what happens when you have community. The community will help you do things that you would not normally do in yourself because of your own fears or insecurities, or just like, I never thought of doing it before.
Yeah, I had to laugh because you're still working on me.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get there.
But look at what you're doing. I mean, I look back and say, wow, Alieze is here and she shares and she gives. And then because of Alieze, we met Jazzy. We met Jazzy Jazz, you know? And I was like, oh, Jazzy Jazz in the building, yo. And now, and then for months, we known Jazzy Jazz on Instagram. And then she came to this community on YouTube where everybody moved over. And then now here we are. Now Jazzy comes on with no struggle. I'm coming on.
She comes on strong, don't she? She comes on strong.
She comes on strong. I want y'all to know what I'm saying. I want you to know what I'm thinking.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so funny. I feel like I believe that the time period that we have from the pandemic until now was about this. It was about building community and connections, right? Because Jazzy and I, I was reluctant to talk live, but with the whole political thing was like really getting to me. So I was like, let's give people some information. Mm-hmm. And so it started with us going live. I mean, I remember going live one time, laying in the hammock in my neighbor's backyard.
I was gonna say the first time I went live, I was in LA and I was in a hotel room and you were talking about political thing. And I honestly, for like 5 minutes, I looked at the phone. I was like, I'm not getting on here because I was just like, I know it doesn't seem like that, but I am a little bit shy. Like now I think I'm a little better, but like I am a little shy. And I remember pressing the button and being like, oh gosh, I'm about to get on here and make a fool of myself. But and I pressed the button and I was like, okay, because it's something that I believe in, right? And it's for me, it's like it's easier to talk about things when I really do believe in what people are saying. And I really do support people because I believe in what you're saying, right? Like, and I think we can learn from one another by having conversation and really engaging, because I learned a lot about Ron when we were in the Go Brunch, right? And some perspectives where I was like, oh, that makes sense to me, right? But it's about having like the conversation and being able to actually engage with one another, and not just to engage to say I'm right, because I think that's what happens a lot now too, where everybody's like, I'm right and you're wrong, you're dumb, and and it's like, no, I genuinely, I don't know everything. And I think I always, when Alieze and I talk, like, especially on the political things, we always say, yeah, fact check us, because we may not be saying this correctly. Yes. Like, we are not the end all be all with things, right? And I think sometimes that's the issue, where people come into a space and they're just like, I know everything. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't know everything. I genuinely don't. And I think it's okay to learn from one another, older, younger, what in between, right? Where it's like you really can learn from each other by actually talking and having the conversation and being willing to listen to what the other person has to say. I know my views are sometimes wild, and I'm like, I don't know.
We all have wild
but
views.
I will say it anyway. Yeah, I'll say them anyway, and I'm just like, okay, either you don't like it or not, but like, and I know there's things where I'm like, they probably don't agree, and that's fine, but I'll say it anyway because I'm willing to learn and have that conversation. And I don't think people want to learn and have that conversation. I think people just want to be like, especially now, I really feel like social media has made it so polarized and has like really put us in silos in a way where I don't think we were before, because now it's like, I know I'm right and I have this, and it's like, Google is free. Like you didn't even take the time. Like that made absolutely no sense, And I think people are afraid to just be wrong. And I'm like, no, I want, like, the way I see it is, if I'm wrong, then I'm willing to learn, and there's so much to learn. There is so much to learn. What is the saying? Like, the smartest person in the room is the person that knows that they don't know everything at all or nothing at all. Like that's the truth.
Yeah.
Like if you really think that you are so smart that you know everything and everything ends and starts and ends with you, then you're a fool. Like, and I genuinely
There you
believe
go.
that. Like you
This
have
is
definition
true.
of a
to
fool.
like,
That's this definition.
you know what I
That's
mean?
the
Yeah, like
definition of the
you really
fool.
have to be willing
Yes.
to like expand your mind. So
Yeah.
Expand it was expand.
you know.
Let's free your mind.
Yeah.
The rest will follow. But but it's I would say expand your mind. But
That
it's
comment,
interesting.
yeah, with that
You would
comment,
say
Jazzy
that.
had, I've
Go
had
ahead.
a live where I've actually turned to my laptop to look up and make sure that what I said was right.
Yes.
Because someone said, "Oh, that was about those H-1B visas."
Oh, you're
And
right.
it was like, "Oh, this is that," and I was like, "Wait a minute, let me look that up." Okay, so George Bush actually started those. That wasn't started by Biden.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the person had to backtrack and say something else. But I didn't want to say you're wrong. I was like, okay, so I don't know enough about that. Let me look that up. And we can clarify that because I also did not want to leave the live with people believing that that person was correct either. I wanted to make sure who was right, what was the correct information. And I think that's the important part of that, Googling and checking yourself, checking other people, because as we put ourselves in these positions, we have to make sure that it's not our emotions, our opinions that we're leading with, but actually in some circumstances, we have to make sure that we're speaking facts, because it can mean for somebody, it could actually mean life or death.
Yeah.
We don't know. It could actually mean that. And so we do have to make sure we're going with the facts. And someone said something or it was in my head, I don't know. But the thing was, the saying of being with like-minded people, they said, how about we are with people who have values, the like values that we have, not just the like mind.
Like values.
Where our values lie.
That makes a difference.
Yeah, because we are in an echo chamber. For me, like when I see people say, "Well, I don't watch this because I don't want to see what they have to say," I will tell you right now, I watch all types of news, like from the Fox News to the MSNBC, the spectrum. Because for me, it's kind of like, how do you talk to a person, and how are you able to talk to a person that has a different viewpoint than you if you don't understand their viewpoint? Or if you don't try to understand their viewpoint, right? Like what I see happening, especially a lot in general, in a lot of conflicts that people have, is that we're unwilling to see and hear what the other person's perspective is. Because I like, for me, where I grew up in a predominantly Black neighborhood. I went to schools at predominantly white schools. I've had experience where it's like, I can view certain things from a certain lens because of my experience, right? And I remember when I graduated from high school, my mom was like, this is like going to the United Nations, because that's how diverse my setting was when I was in school, right? And it didn't dawn on me, to be honest, until I got to college, that most people don't have that experience. Because I just thought everybody had that, right? I never was aware of the fact that like people didn't go to school with all types of races, because that was my experience. And I think when you're not exposed to certain things, you don't see things from a certain lens. And then it blocks you from saying, like, you have this mindset of like, oh, it can't be like that because I've never experienced that. And for me, it's like, I can see both ends of this, because I have experienced this in one way and I have experienced this in another way. And I can see where we're common. I can see where there's a disconnect. I can see why there is a disconnect over here, right? And it's about, how do we now get these two disconnected groups to say, hey, I see you where you are, and not just say, you're dumb and you're dumb, because that's not productive. You're not going to get anywhere with that. So,
if I
you
may
just have to be willing to expand your mind a little bit. Gwendolyn, you're like, no.
Gwendolyn's face is saying something. This is Gwendolyn.
Finger cap is on.
But before Gwendolyn speaks, I mean, I just wanted to say, but this is the importance of community. Being a part of a community is so important, and being a part of many communities, because I learned so much from my chamber community. I learned so much from my neighbors. I learned from being here with you guys. Every every community offers a learning experience if you go into that community with an open mind, open heart, and say, okay, I don't know it. I don't have all the answers. But if I go to this community, I may gain some new answers.
Yeah.
So, Gwendolyn.
Here's my thoughts on what Jazzy said as I write down 2 more podcast topics. Thank you, Jazzy. Okay,
the podcasting topic queen.
My elementary school was primarily Caucasian. My middle school was all ethnicities and religious beliefs. And then high school was all Black children. And then I went to college in New York City. So melting pot. But here's what I keep finding with certain things is you have to be in the right space to even start that conversation. Like your mindset has to be there. You know how they talk about, and for those of us who are educators, repetition creates recognition. However, you have to keep repeating stuff until it resonates with the person, but they got to be raised to even hear the message. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I think about like my mother and some of her sermons, when people would come to church every day, but they're not getting it because it's not their time to get that message. Like you can be in the building and it can go over your head like 5,000 times. Like it's just not ready. So when I think about people of different perspectives, I love it. I invite it. I've had people come onto my, channel and leave their ridiculous thoughts. Debater here. If you don't bring real value, it's gonna get shut down. So you like calling names and whatnot, bruh, bring something better than that because that ain't it. But I'm going to engage with it because I want to have the conversation. I want to hear exactly what you have to say. I want to hear it. But if you don't know how to hold a conversation, I'm going to get frustrated. I got a little bit of patience. I got a little bit, and then I got to move on because you can't get it. Like, I don't have time for all of that. But I invite it. I invite it. Like I said before, I say it again. Aisla is a Caucasian queer woman who was raised by her father's not Mormon. I think he stopped practicing. But it was like, being able to bring together those kinds of situations and perspectives and sit down and just talk about it. And we don't always agree because it's not about agreeing. It's about hearing the other person and walking away with something different. But you have to be ready for that. Like your mindset has to be at a place of, I want to learn and grow. And I see what the world is, and the world is, various, and I want to enjoy all of that. Everybody ain't, there are people still putting sugar in their grits. Now look, I'm working on some things over here in my house.
I 1,000%.
What do you think? It's cream of wheat?
Sugar and greens.
Yeah,
sugar and greens is a no-no. Keep that sugar out those greens.
But also, could I just before you start? The thought is for that was good, Gwendolyn. Today I'm going through all my old photos and my Google Photos because I have to delete photos. And so I came across Gwendolyn's picture in 2010. I mean 2010. And I said, oh my God, I gotta send this to her. And then I sent it to her and she says, what was you said your waist?
I was running like I stole something. So we were tiny. The bosom is still bosoming. It got really deep. But yeah.
But I was saying, I say, think about that. I mean, Gwendolyn and I have been, that was 2010. We were friends before 2010. So 2010, and you think of a friendship from then to now. I don't agree with everything that Gwendolyn shares, and she don't agree with everything I share. But what we've done, I think over this arching friendship of 2 decades, is that I've learned a whole lot of different perspectives in the conversations we have. I'll be like, oh, I never thought about that one. Oh, that came from left. I never even. And that's again, if there's any title for today's conversation, it is the beauty and the need for community. The beauty and the need, because we all need community. And for those that think they're an island to themselves and they're going to survive, and if you think you're going to survive this crap that we're going through alone, you got another thing coming to you. I mean, we need community. I think that's why so many of the online communities that are functioning as communities are stronger, not because they have so many numbers, but because there's connection in the community. I know when people pop up in this community, they're like, oh wow, these people are really they're friends. They know each other. And that's the other point of when for some of the folks that are in the community that I know want to come on. They want to be on the screen. And they're afraid to make that step.
Mm-hmm.
This, I am a believer of. This is what I believe in, providing this platform so that way you can get that experience among people that love you. It's a difference. Like if someone says to someone in this community and say, "Hey, I would like you to be on Kate, Couric show." Now you got bubbles in your stomach and everything because you've never done it before. But if you get on here, I guarantee you, it does make a difference in how you present in the world, because you guys made me a better presenter of information. When I'm in my networking events and I got the gift of gab, I can talk. However, I now talk with a level of freedom that I never had before, because so many people see me on this tube here, this YouTube. I'm walking in the street sometimes and folks like, hey, I see your show all the time. I tune in. Aww. I'm following you. I'm a subscriber. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I think I never seen you in the audience. And they go, no, I follow you. I get to see it at night. I come home after work and I look at what you're saying. And I love you. I love the girls and the ladies that are with you on the panel. And I love the panel discussion. But having a platform like this gives you the ability to bring people on that are in the community, the consistent ones, the ones that are here that contribute, support, and all that stuff, and say, hey, this is a platform for you to work out those kinks and bugs also. Just like I had to work out my kinks and bugs. This is a platform. I guarantee you, Jazzy was afraid, but look at Jazzy now, and she's just getting started. I'm looking for when someone's gonna say, oh wow, I saw you on that Touch Base Daily thing. I need you to talk at our school and talk to our students. You don't know what could happen.
You had it now. Just gonna put that camera. I want to see that.
I want to see that. I'm blind in that one.
I mean, look at Alieze. Alieze gets up and talks about her passion is art, and she's talking about artists and her love for it. And then because she loves it so passionately, she just asks the right questions. People always say, Ron, wow, that was a good interview. I'm just nosy. I like to know about people. I am curious about people. I mean, nosy sounds like a negative thing. It's not. I am nosy in the fact that I love just learning about people. I ask thousands of questions. When I meet people, even when I'm at networking events, they're like, holy moly, I never thought about that. I'm like, yo, I said, so what caused you to do such and such? Where did you start your business? How did you start your business? Where did your business from? What were you thinking about? I mean, I go through all the questions. They're like, holy moly, this guy is serious. But because not all the networkers or the ambassadors of the chamber are doing that. I'm making my rounds to every person in the room. And then I tell them, I only want to know 5 of you. And they're like, what? I was like, I just want to know 5 of you. So I want to I say hello to everyone, but I want to know only 5 of you.
Right.
I want to know your name, where you came from, what happened to cause you to create this business, what, on and on and on and on and on. I'm Curious George. There was a reason why my mother gave me that book when I was a kid. I am a natural Curious George. I'm the Curious George. Curious George flies a kite. Curious George rides the bus. Curious George. I mean, that's me.
That's the
and for every person that I meet in the world, I am curious.
Yeah, and my thing, you know, I said this to an artist a couple of weeks ago. Well, in a group I was in, I say, because I was talking, and I said, well, you know, I'm really not an extrovert. No. I'm more introverted than extroverted. I said, however, when it's something I'm passionate about, that's when that side comes out. You know, art I'm passionate about, education, and human rights. Because I won't just say politics, I'll say human rights. I'm very passionate about what happens to human beings. So that, of course, overlaps with politics. But the core of it is human beings. And so it did take me a while to say, and of course, my son, I always credit my son with the real push. He's like, okay, Mom, that Virgo. Like our friend. That Virgo. And he's like, Mom, I haven't seen anything lately. What are you doing? What are you going? I need you to, you know, just go for it, whatever it is. And I said, you know, that's the part that people have to realize. If I can get on here, you can get on here, because, and most people say, you seem so comfortable. I said, I can have everybody comes on and they're nervous. It doesn't mean
to get the door.
Yeah. You know, and that's what I believe. You don't have to see your nerves, or you don't have to be your nerves. And I said, maybe I'm moving more toward being an ambivert. So it's a combination of balance somewhere in there. But that introvert, I will walk into a room, even art things now. I will walk in the room, and my first instinct is to scan everything and to listen to people, because I also have great discernment when I come in contact with people. So there's some people they may just say hi, and I go the other way just because I feel it, and that energy shows up, and I'm gone. So and I'll go talk to someone else. But I'm getting better at introducing myself, going into the space and say, "Are you an artist or are you a collector?" So that my platform won't just focus only on art. I'll also talk to gallerists. I'll talk to other collectors. There's some collectors I would love to have just talk to about their collections, but also how they got to where they are as collectors.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, again, someone has their speaker up high, so I'm hearing my voice. But it's so important to build community. I'm just saying, don't be afraid to participate in your communities. Don't be I mean, you come to especially, I mean, I know pretty much most everyone that's a regular in this community. All of you folks are amazingly brilliant. All of you folks are amazingly talented. All of you come to the table with so much. Welcome to New York. The motorcycle. Anyway, but yeah, everyone brings something to the table, you know? And that's what's so beautiful about it. But here's Mr. Bryan. Mr. Bryan brings wisdom to the table when he's here. So, Mr. Bryan, what's going on, Mr. B? Are you getting ready to drop a gem?
Yeah, make sure when you plan your doctor's appointments, make sure you have the right day.
Oh.
He's no Virgo.
He's not a Virgo, y'all.
He's not a Virgo.
No. I'm a creative artist, and it was like, I thought it was today. The lady was like, 2 weeks. Like, oh,
you're in the wrong week.
Well, you're not even the wrong day, the wrong
early,
week.
That's all.
You just early. At least you weren't late.
That's right. You were early.
Yeah.
So, Bryan, I mean, in this conversation, what do you think? What do you believe in community? How does community? Because I mean, we watched you. I mean, I met you through the CQ family and connecting with you, and and then you showing up and being a part of this community and popping on and hearing and connecting, and you just also being so transparent about your life and being in this community. And then also supporting you when you used to come on and do your thing. You know, you used to do your drawing at nights, and we used to sit there and pop in with you. So what is important to you about community, and what do you hold dear about it? Oh, we lost your sound.
You're on mute.
You're on mute. Oh, we can't hear you. Bryan, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Mute. Take off the mute. We lost him.
We lost his ability to hear him.
Okay, can he hear us on his Oh, okay, I guess we lost him. Okay, we lost him. So anyway, but it is that. What time is it?
May I add one thing?
Yes, yes. You can add one thing. I know you got more than one thing, but go ahead. Add your one thing.
I'm gonna add the one, and
Okay,
Jazzy's because we had a chat last week about presentation and speaking and the whole 9 yards, and how it depends on where you are. I have shared this 1,000 times. I stutter, right? But because I had so much I wanted to share, and made sure that I practiced on speaking and sought out opportunities, jobs that would make me get in front of people and speak. So much so that, you know, I was able to go to Salesforce Dreamforce and speak on large stages. So it's not just, hey, I want to say something, but I'm afraid to say something. No, this is work. This is work. This presentation work. I know Cass even talked about it. So I'm going to do it one more time. All right. So Lisa, if you want to practice, I'm available to practice. You know, I led my team of 8 sales trainers on public speaking. We can get everybody's story, because everybody has a story that should be told. I believe in that. Everybody has the genius. The world requires your genius. I just needed people to show up in it. And if you need help showing up, I got you.
And she does. So Bryan?
Yes.
Okay, is your sound working? Okay. So what are your thoughts, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just be brief, because the thought around community and speaking brought to mind this story I heard about this general during Vietnam, and he was about to ship off with a batch of new soldiers, one who was just having his first child. That soldier was questioning this general about how can he be a good soldier and a good father. It seemed like they were, contradictory. And he said, I hope that me being good at one makes me better at the other. He didn't differentiate. And so when I think of community and having your voice, I think for me, my professional life as a professional designer and artist and public speaker and teacher and all of that, I pray that helps me to be a better father, to be a better human in my communities, and vice versa. I hope being a better, person in my communities helps me to be a better person, period. So that's my little, I shouldn't say little, but my
no, those are strong words. That's a good thought. And what time? Let me make sure the time is okay. I want to get everyone out of here. But I want to. There's something. I saved one for the last word. But Lisa said it's not really public speaking. And G, I went to school for communications, and I am a trained actor. Hello, Lisa. Another gem she brought up about herself. It's the last experience that made me apprehensive about doing it again. I'll get there. I know what she's.
We're gonna have to talk, Lisa, because I'm not buying your brand bread today. I'm not buying it.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what she's talking about.
I know what she's talking about, and I know that was a bad experience, but this is not that community. Anyway.
And I will say too, I think one of the things for me where I know this, maybe this is not the best thing. I am shy. Like I'm more of a, I don't, first of all, let me just say, Alieze, when I first met Alieze, I was standing in a line and we went, I don't believe she's as shy as she's saying she is. But anyway.
Alieze ain't no shy, but she may be shy on the cam, like screen, but Alieze not shy.
but I will say, I will say, one, there's two things. Toastmasters is really good at like if you really do want to do public speaking. I know Toastmasters is a really good place to like train if that's really something that you want to do. Just because it's a community of people that want to speak. They will listen to you. They will, you know, train you up, and it's really good to just speak in that environment. They have them at a lot of churches, and just in the community in general. That's one thing. But I will say too, like for me, I think the reason why I wouldn't say I'm shy in a way, but like at a certain point, I'm just like, okay, it's either going to go well or it's not. And I just have that personality where it's like, for me, you know, sometimes I overthink what I say on here, even on here, right? Like there was one thing that I said a couple of weeks ago and I was like, dang, like the whole weekend I was like replaying it in my mind. And I was like, how could I have said that differently or whatever? Like, but I had to tell myself like, okay, you know, get to a space within yourself that you're okay, again, not being right? Or sometimes embarrassing yourself, you know what I mean? And of course we don't set out to embarrass ourselves. That's not our intention. But I think sometimes it's like, we just have to get to a space where what others say and other opinions of us is not going to define who we are as people, right? Like we are not who, like everything that is being said here, yes, it is our opinions and it's what we say, but it's not who we overall are as people. Even if we say things in disagreement with one another, it doesn't mean that I'm going to go in tomorrow and say, oh man, like Alieze hates me because you know what I mean? Like just be comfortable in the space of saying like, you know, this is a lesson learned from you, or this is something, or maybe I could have said it differently. I really do, like, especially in the comment section of this platform, I just feel like there's a lot of people that have so many great opinions and say so many great things. And there's a fear there because they don't want to be seen as something. And I would just say, like, just be okay with being who you are and stand in what you say. You know what I mean? Like, and it's hard to say that. And I get it. It's a hard thing to do. But like Gwendolyn said, like Alieze said, like Ron has said, like Bryan has said, we all have a story to tell and we all have a way in which what we say matters. So I would just encourage Lisa or anybody in this community, just, you know, like, even if you're just talking to yourself in the mirror, I do it. Like, I'm just, listen, when people say, don't talk to yourself, I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm going to say what I need to say.
Long.
You know what I mean? That's the only way you see yourself. Talk to your phone. Like, literally have a conversation with your phone. Record yourself just having a conversation. And sometimes you'll just be comfortable in that. So, yeah.
I do that.
Lisa's situation is different.
I want to make a correction.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm not shy. I'm introverted. Introverted. Being an introvert and shy.
Yes, you are introverted.
Yeah,
I can be introverted.
They're very distinct.
Yes.
Shy is different from introverted.
Yes, very true. Very true.
That shyness is something else. And I do know what Lisa's referring to, but I want to say that we all know that our experiences can cause us to be triggered, cause us to doubt ourselves or start to pull away from things. But we have to say, so how do what lessons did we learn in that experience, and how and as we move forward and continue to push ourselves, how do we use those lessons so that we don't go and make the same mistake? And it was so funny because the last 2 weeks, Proverbs 26 has been on my mind. Yeah. And it talks about fools. And it's like, don't be like the specific one that said, don't be like the dog who returns to his vomit. Mm-hmm. That's what fools do. You go back to the same situation. It's like, don't keep trying. Don't go back to that space. Yeah. You know what happened to you in that space. Take the lesson you learned from that space so that you become more intelligent about who you are and who other people are. Therefore, you won't return to that same space. I always tell people, here's the correct thing to say. Never say someone made a 360. They either made a 185 a 180, which is on the opposite side. But if you make a 360, you go back to exactly where you were.
That one.
Little math lesson.
There you
That's
go.
cool.
But I wanted to also, I
That's
see Chris. Chris has been really chiming in. Thank you, Chris, for your comments
19
here.
off the personalities.
I have 19 after personalities, and we keep court all the time. It's all about the lesson we learn from others and apply. He also, and I'm going to close out with this thought that Chris left us with, and I definitely started. And also, I want to say one is thank you, Lisa, for the super sticker. She sent a super sticker. Y'all don't know if y'all don't know where the super stickers are, just look to that little icon at the bottom of your comment chat. And but there it is. Thank you, Lisa, for supporting with the super sticker. And with this last thought, Chris Baylor says, community is a reminder of home, safety, and acceptable vulnerability amongst peers and friends. Right. I think that is such a great way to sum our conversation up to today. This was a great water cooler talk. I mean, this was I love this. I love this community. The community, you guys you mean the world. And again, I'll read that again. Community is a reminder of home, safety, acceptable vulnerability amongst peers and friends.
And if you don't have it, it ain't yours. Get out.
There you go. If you're not getting that in your community, then then leave that community, because that's where you want to be, where you are safe.
I'm like Lisa. Now that particular one triggers me a lot. If you are not, if that's not happening in your community, if you can't feel safe, acceptable, and vulnerable, and be able to be vulnerable and protected,
yes,
in a community or a relationship, get out. Get out. No, maybe you have to flash the camera. Get out.
Okay, guys, I'm not even doing my announcements because I don't want to. I just want us to leave with that one thought. That was beautifully said. Yes, the summary was excellent. And guys, I know you guys. Tomorrow is Juneteenth, so either I'll be here, we'll be here together like this, or I'll be in these streets. We'll figure it out. But there's a lot going on in New York tomorrow for celebrating Juneteenth. We're gonna there's a lot of events going on here in New York City. There's a couple of gallery shows. So I'll be sharing that tomorrow. There's a big photography and all that stuff. But anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But guys, have a great Juneteenth. If I don't see you tomorrow here, but have a great Juneteenth. Enjoy. It's on a Thursday. So I mean, some of you guys are getting a 4-day weekend.
Well, love you all. I have an artist talk tomorrow night, so.
Wait, ding, 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 ding. Meaning, is it video on Instagram?
On Instagram.
Thank you. So could you make sure you get that information to me, or is it already posted?
I'll send the thing out today. I have to put it together.
I need to go
yesterday, so
we're going to support.
I see
there we go.
I'll be reaching. I'll be hanging out with Gwendolyn soon.
Lisa says, "Be careful out there, guys. You can't be caught slipping with these guys. Yeah, this guy is crazy. So we're gonna go out. We're gonna have faith. We're gonna have strength among the community. That's why you need community. Is strength in numbers.
And somebody said something the other day, and I have to remind myself. Even if you're just going on a walk in your neighborhood, make sure you have your ID. Because sometimes when I just walk in my neighborhood, I don't take anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We need to make sure we have an ID with us, because I do it all the time. If I'm walking around my neighborhood, I leave everything in the house. And then I said, well, I never know, because they can claim anything. So make sure you always have your ID in a pocket or something. Just make sure you have that to be safe.
Also, my brother and I, we just did this weekend. We had we had breakfast on Saturday, and we were just sitting at the table. And I said, "Oh, he was talking about the boys, his sons, and everybody's on location, so everybody knows where everybody is." And I said, you know what? I need to. And so I immediately signed Adrian up for my location, so that Adrian will know wherever I am. And then he goes, you could do that right now. So we put Adrian. I put Adrian on mine, and then I gave my brother my location on my phone, so that way, if I'm, so if I'm somewhere, they at least know where I was last at. So, I'm using
can I
my
just
locations on my phone, and that will make a big difference too.
Can I add one thing about the ID thing? So just so you know, real IDs, even though you have to send your birth certificate in for your real ID, the real ID is only proof of citizenship in like 9 states or 19 states. It's not all the states. So don't think that because you have your real ID, it's saying that it's your proof of citizenship. I just want to throw that out there. I don't remember how many states qualify it as like a citizenship thing, but it's not to prove your citizenship. So I just want to clarify that, because I know people are like, well, if I have my ID, then this is going to prove that, and it doesn't. So, but you should always carry your ID.
My thing is just make sure you have an ID that has your name on it.
Yes.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I wanted to say that because I think I've heard a lot of people say that recently, and I'm like, it doesn't have anything to do with proof of citizenship. So yeah, you should always have your ID and your medical cards with you.
Always.
Right.
Okay, guys, thank you so much.
Brian,
We're
that's why
out of
it's so
here.
important what you say. Also, when you travel, make sure now, like even when I start traveling domestically, because I wasn't doing it, I'm gonna make sure I have my passport as well.
Always. You know how I feel about that. I always tell everyone.
ID and a passport.
Passport at all times. Okay, guys.
Agree.
Love y'all. And we will be here. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Later. Thank you. Love y'all all. Thank you, B. Thank you, Jazzy. Thank you, Gwendolyn. Thank you, Alieze. And I'm out. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. Until I see you next time.